That's how you activate it. My favorite one, because it sounds like I always compare it to like a fairy.
A fairy?
Yeah. And then you just like do this. I do this over my head sometimes if I'm like, was under a lot of fluorescent light or watching TV or like, I just feel like brain fog. I just kind of like...
Do it to me, do it to me. Oh yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Right? This one has just such
oh
like
my
a...
gosh.
I just feel like I'm like dancing with it.
That's so delicious. Oh, that's right. I like how you call it the fairy fork.
Yeah, the fairy fork.
Hi everyone, I hope that you're doing well, and if you're not doing well, that's okay too, just know that it's temporary. My name is Tristen Sky, and today I'm with Carissa Lambert, who is a Biofield Tuning practitioner. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, sick. So before we get into it, I want to ask you, what is biotuning?
So, Biofield Tuning, it's okay, it's an unfamiliar modality. A lot of people aren't too sure what the name is. To break it down, the biofield is the scientific word for the aura. So,
okay.
I'm using tuning forks and I'm tuning the aura, so the space around a person. Biofield tuning, it's a sound therapy modality.
I like how it's, I like how you said it's like the science word for aura, because I feel like so many people when they go to aura they're like,
exactly.
Hocus pocus, but
they write it off, it's like pseudoscience or like this is some woo-woo stuff, but yeah, it's just the scientific word for it, so it's helpful to be able to explain that to people and know that there is a biofield that surrounds us that we can pick up with some of our technology today.
With science, that's
with
cool.
Science, yeah.
I like that. So I wanted to ask you, what brought you like towards this sort of healing, towards like this like it's like science but also like energy, like talk about like young you and like how it brought you to this.
So yeah, I like biofield tuning because it bridges the gap between both worlds, the science and spirituality. Since I was a kid, I was really into the metaphysical. I always was that little girl that was making potions in the woods with sticks and flowers.
Cute,
I was always a witch for Halloween. I was always called an old soul, always connected with older people, not really so much people my age. Don't get me wrong, I still lived out my rebellious, immature teenage expression, but for the most part, I always felt like there was something bigger than us out there that we weren't necessarily being taught about in school.
Right.
Stuff that was downplayed and, if anything, like alienated, things like that. Always the taboo was what caught my attention and I was interested in. So when I turned 18, I moved away. I was a flight attendant for a few years and I worked on the plane and I could feel people's energy and I didn't know how to explain what I was coming home with every day. Like why it felt so heavy and why my mood shifted around certain people. So I got laid off during the pandemic. I heard a podcast about biofield tuning and it made so much sense. The girl who invented it described that we have this energy field that we walk around with and that's why you feel people's vibes. Because you're in their bubble. And I just knew I had to learn more about it. There was the science to it that I wanted to know, but I just wanted to experience it.
Do you know when it was invented? You said it was by a woman? Or?
So, it was a German physicist, I think, in the 1700s that first documented this biofield, but he was written off at the time.
Right. Okay, so how long have you been seeing clients? Like, how long have you been doing this practice professionally?
Since 2020, that's when I started right away, but I was working on friends and family members for 2 years, and then finally after working on my grandfather, someone who is very skeptical by the way, he was seeing major benefits and he was getting off pain meds, and that's when he suggested to me that I should do this as a business and help more people and actually make money from it. So
that's actually like the best thing ever, and I feel like even in 2020 I feel like a lot of people got into like holistic healing at that time, so it makes sense that, you know, you bloomed at that time, you know? Okay, so how does it work? How does this session work? Like, if I don't, like, I've been to a group session with you, so I kind of understand the process. But like, for someone who doesn't know, how does it work? Is someone standing or are they listening? Like, go, just speak.
Okay, so actually I can grab my tuning fork. So how it works for my classic sessions when someone comes in to see me, they're typically about an hour long.
Okay.
I always start out, I activate a few body points. So I activate the fork, it's vibrating, and then if you could give me your hand, and then I place it on certain body points, just opening up, allowing the sound currents to travel through. And then after I do,
so cool,
right? It feels cool.
Yeah.
So after I do that, that's when I start working in the biofield. So most of the work is actually not on the body. The person is lying there, and I am a few feet away from them, working through their field, where all their memories are recorded. So it's like a map of their mind.
In the aura.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So as I scan through it, and it works like tree rings. So out at the outer edge would be your birth, and then moving in all the way to your age now.
Oh, I would think it was like the opposite. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Hold on. So like your birth is the farthest away from you?
Yeah, so every time you age, it grows outward and gets larger, but it's mainly condensed.
So older people kind of have a bigger aura, you'd say?
Often. Well, yes and no, because people who are ill have smaller fields, and as you age, a lot of people get sick. So
okay, that makes sense. Because like I work with flower energy and like crystal energy. I make my sprays, and it really connects to the aura as well. There are sprays for your aura, and I've noticed that like when people are sick, the aura is more gray, because I also see colors, like, and it is seeming a lot smaller. Okay, so that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you so how do the forks work with the aura? Like, so I guess you like clean the aura, or like.
Yeah. So okay.
Are we doing this?
I thought I'd just do it. Yeah, I'll show you right now. Through it.
Ooh, lucky me. Okay.
So if I activate the tuning fork, I get into a deep breathing state where, because I do a lot of feeling, I feel the energy move through me, and there'll be like a resistance when I'm in your field that sometimes you can feel it when I'm making contact with it.
Okay.
It looks like it's just empty space, but there's a lot of charged particles and a lot of information here.
Okay.
In the sense of vibration. And the body's really intelligent, and it's able to auto-tune. So it will compare its own frequency to the frequency of the fork, and then it uses the laws of physics and will start to entrainment with it. So it will match the frequency of the tuning fork.
So cool.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's your aura or the aura of the person? Also, do you want to say?
I feel like a lot of that is just intentional.
Yeah.
Like, I just set the container before I work on someone. I actually have a little thing written down, a little piece of paper that I always have with me, and it says, I wish to exclude me from the equation. Okay. Every time I work on someone.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So it's good to have that intention before, because I feel like intention is everything when it comes to, specifically with energy healing and metaphysical work. It's all about our intentions. So with a practitioner, to have that intention, it really does work. I feel like then your aura would move to the side in a way.
Yeah.
So that you can work on the client.
Exactly, that's where I'm focusing my energy, and that's what comes up. But sometimes I'll have someone have like a sibling come up in their reading, but it's because it's something related to what's currently going on with them, or some sort of unprocessed emotion relating to this person.
Because it lives in their energy. Yes, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. So do you also work with crystals? Because I'm in your space right now, I just see lots of beautiful crystals. Do you also use crystals in your practice?
I do, yes.
You do? Oh, cool.
I do. Like the one treatment that I do, it's called the Sonic Meridian Flush, and I apply...
Sounds nifty. I like it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I apply crystals to certain points. I intuitively select them. There's no specific way that it goes. I just use my intuition, and it helps open up the flow for people.
Okay.
Because some of the tuning forks that I use actually bring the brain waves to a more alpha theta state.
Right.
So we're sinking in, dropping into the body. I'm asking them to really pay attention to what they're feeling.
Yes.
Some people will feel temperature shifts as I move through certain areas of their field. Some people will notice their breathing gets heavier or faster. So I'm kind of just coaching them through how to breathe and just to observe what's going on as I move through and do the adjustment. But it's very non-invasive. Most times the forks aren't on their body, but because the body and the field are connected, sometimes I will have this download where I'm like, I need to place this on your heart right now. And then once what is amazing about it is once I do it, I'll go back to the field and it will have released. I just needed to put that input on the heart.
Cool. So like what can someone expect from doing this sort of
like the benefits?
Yeah.
So I'd say the main benefits is releasing pain, emotional, physical, mental pain.
Yes, yeah.
That would be the main one. Getting a better sleep, having more energy levels that are balanced out, being able to more effectively take risks and with confidence to expand and grow.
Cool.
I think the most important is releasing suppressed emotions, but you don't realize how much it affects your physical body. Yes. That is where your pain is often coming from. There's a significance to where the pain is in your body, and more often than not, it's an emotional imbalance.
I feel that, like, emotions, you know, are so complicated, and it's hard to understand. Why am I sad, or why do I feel like this? And it's held within the aura, you know, it's held within the body, so it's nice to have someone kind of feel it for you, right?
Exactly.
So you can kind of sense, oh, I feel, well, I'm not too sure, but like I can sense you probably like, oh, I feel something in this side of the body, so this part connects to grief, or this part connects to past life, so you're able to understand it better.
Yeah, and that's the thing, there's an anatomy to it. That's what I love about Biofield Tuning.
How sciencey is this? She said the word anatomy. Continue.
Yes, that's what I love about it, because it's so, what's the word, reliable. Like, everyone stores similar emotions in the same place, and that's what the founder of Biofield Tuning has been able to map out, and all practitioners are like, this is very consistent among everyone. So a lot of times people will talk about their issues, and I'll say like, oh, is your right hip hurting? They're like, how do you know? And I'm like, that's where we store this. Or is this bothering you on your left shoulder? It's because you're not speaking up. You're not saying your truth.
Yes.
And oh, is your right side hurting? It's because you are speaking up, but in a way that people aren't receiving it well, because there's anger, or there's this. So it makes sense. It's like a map to the mind.
You know, because like we're all, you know, like of course we're all different. We all have different qualities, different traits. You know, we like different foods, we like different colors.
Yes.
However, we are all designed the same. We all see from our eyes. We all smell from our noses. We love from our hearts. You know, we all have chakras. So we really are, you know, the same. We are the same. Yeah. So it's kind of cool with people like you who study energy, that you can kind of understand us, like humanity, and how we can grow and heal. Super cool. I love it. Well, one thing I've noticed, like you said, that like if it's held from like the left side of the body or the right side of the body, perhaps like the left side it's not speaking your truth, but right side is speaking too forcefully, perhaps.
Yes.
And that kind of goes with like the feminine, the masculine that lives within all of us, folks.
Yes. Very important to know that.
So do you see that too within your clients, or within this type of work?
There is a lot that the feminine and masculine topic is so interesting to me, because like you said, it lives within all of us. We possess both energies, just in different amounts, different degrees. But what I was going to say is, as the feminine has been oppressed culturally for a while, we've learned to favor logic and reason over emotion and intuition. And that's why I think I really love this practice, and I do well with it as a practitioner, because I can really tap into feeling things and not necessarily needing to decode someone's psyche or why they're having a problem. So therapy is great, but talking about an issue isn't always going to bring a resolve. And as much as you try to shift it in speaking about it, it won't work. And that's why I really love this, because it's something that can help break up these patterns without needing to overly identify with the situation that's going on in the person's life. That sound moves it in a beautiful way. The vibration does its thing without us needing to introduce logic.
So you don't have to, like, you could be relieving some sort of pain or even some sort of trauma or something, but might not know what it is.
Exactly.
And may not need to know what it is.
Exactly.
Because sometimes that's the whole point, is to not know what it is, for it to move through the...
But sometimes I do get downloads as I'm working through someone's field. Let's say they're 30 years old and I'm halfway through their field, so around 15, I'll be able to kind of gauge it, and I'll get a certain thought, and I'll know what it's related to, and I'll bring it up to them, and they'll say, yeah, I was in a car accident at that age, or there will be, and sometimes talking about it does help shift. It really depends, but if it's someone who has been continuously talking about something and it's not shifting, it's actually, if you want to get more sciencey, it's actually, so I'll try to break this down. So our thoughts are electric and our emotions are magnetic. So electricity is typically associated with the masculine, and magneticism is typically associated with the feminine.
Cool.
Magnetic fields, or biofield, guides electrical currents, meaning our emotions are primary,
yes,
and then our thoughts follow. So if you are trying to follow New Age thinking of changing your thoughts, and you can try to change your thinking all you want and be more positive with affirmations, but if your magnetic field is stuck in an emotion, it won't work.
That's
it
so
needs
true.
to be released and heard and seen, and sometimes it's just, that's why I love the sound. We don't need to talk about it. We just introduce the sound
first,
and it'll settle and release the field, and then after, the pain in the body lets go.
So true. So true. And that's why it also connects to, like, you know, like the moon, you know, this is when we do moon rituals, and it's all about like intentions and feelings and, you know, going inward, and that's always like the first step, like with achieving any type of goal, with, you know, and that goes like the feminine, everything you just said just makes so much sense, but, you know, it was said so scientifically.
I like to bring
love
both.
it.
Both energies come out of me at different times, but
Stunning.
yeah.
I feel like I kind of understand an individual session now, but I also know you do group sessions,
yes,
and I think that's very interesting. So I want you to talk about that. Like, how does a group session work with, like, the sound healing?
Okay, so at first, again, the sciencey part of my brain was having a hard time wrapping my brain around how this is possible. But from my understanding, Eileen McCusick, she's the inventor of Biofield Tuning.
Okay.
So she started doing her treatments. She was a massage therapist. She incorporated tuning forks, and that's when she mapped out the whole anatomy over her years of research. And her treatments she was very well sought out after. And her treatments were up to $2,000 for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So she wanted to make it more available and affordable to people. So she's like, if I can use my intention, like if it's such a powerful thing based on all the research that there is about it, why not be able to do this with someone at a distance? So she started working on some clients who it was over the phone, over the internet, and she found that it was producing the exact same results as if they were right there on her table.
Yeah.
Just by her using her intention to pull up their hologram, it was the same thing was happening. And I've done this and it works. I have clients who are in the States, I have clients from BC, and they will say, yeah, it's so accurate. Like, how do you know this? And I'm like, it's all in the ether. So after Eileen did the distance sessions over the phone, she started doing group sessions. She's like, if I can place one person's hologram on my table, why can't I place a collective of people's holograms on the table?
Okay, so kind of making like one, like
keeping everyone individual, but doing the same layout as if I would be working on my massage table on one person. So doing the same flow, but intentionally having everyone there, and whatever is out of balance within the collective, trusting that it's the same thing that needs to be worked on. And it works. You were there, you attended.
So it's kind of like if all of us, well, okay, this might be a broad example. If all of us were tired that day, then you could have worked on that energy, you know?
Yes.
If all of us were anxious, then you could have worked on that energy.
Exactly.
But I also know you also could do specific things, like if you felt something was very strong, like I felt like this strong energy in the right hip.
Yes.
Because that needed to be healed too. So I feel like you could also, like, specialize on someone or a soul in specific if that soul really needed that healing, right?
I absolutely can, and I bring a pendulum to guide me, and I move it over the table as if there's a person there, and wherever it indicates, I just trust this is where everyone here collectively needs some of the work done.
You know, I used to do something very similar, because I used to do Reiki, because I was a Reiki master.
Yes,
well, I still am a master, but I don't do Reiki anymore. But I used to do that before a client would come. I would, like, intentionally get their hologram, their soul on the table, and I would grab a pendulum and see where I needed to work. Also, as a card reader now, I do long distance things, and that's what I feel like. Also, energy, it's future and the past. Like, you can heal someone's past, but you can also send them energy in the future, you know? Yeah. So this makes so much sense. Everything you're saying makes so much sense. One thing I think is also really cool is during this group session, you brought us water that was like with crystals in it, which I love because I make sprays and my sprays are made from crystal essences and flower essences, and I truly know that water captures the vibration of energy. But, okay, so she has a fun little story. So tell me about the story that you told me today.
Yes, okay. So I get a little intense with my water. I have a filter, and a 5-stage filter. I have minerals at the bottom that infuse it with calcium, magnesium, and then I have all these beautiful crystals that I lay out there as well. And I tune it. I go with my tuning fork, and I tune it a few times a day sometimes. Sometimes I go a few days without. But I'm very mindful about the energy that I put in my water.
Stunning.
And I knew that it was doing something, but I didn't realize the extent of it. So my partner goes hunting and fishing, and we always have minnows in our fridge, and he buys them at the same place, the same kind, and typically they last about 3 to 4 days. And they're still living right now, and it's been a month and a half that he's been using my water. And he's like, I can't believe this. This is like surpassed what I thought it would. I knew your water would be healing, but I had no idea. And like, they're still alive right now. So I don't know how long it's gonna go on for, but I'm like, my water is very healing.
Well, it's true, it's live.
Yes.
One thing I think is kind of cool is that if you kind of can collectively get the energies from lots of people, you know, combine all these holographs and like love heals all, you know, these fish that, you know, are able to live longer. I feel like you can, like, or anyone, we can really send good vibes to like the collective consciousness and to everyone. Like I can see you like tuning a lake and just blessing all the fish in the sea and kind of almost doing like a humanity thing. You can probably put humanity's souls onto the table and see what is the collective energy, you know?
Absolutely, I 100% believe that. I believe that every sound that goes out into the ether, into the world, whatever you want to call it, makes a difference.
Okay, so is there anything else we should talk about before we get into the demo?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're ready to do it.
Okay, so let's do it. Okay. Is it okay that I have crystal?
Yeah, of course. And the nice thing about this is even if we're working with not a lot of space, the field is actually able to come down in size and make accommodations into fitting the room.
Okay, so you can kind of like shrink my field.
With intention.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. With intention, that's like the...
That's the key.
The key of the day, yeah.
This is a hypothetical, this is a theory that, well, we know for sure that when an organism's under stress, it emits biophotons, and these are particles of light. If you take a soybean, you cut it with a knife, and you examine it with a special microscope, you'll be able to see these particles of light have expelled. So it kind of taps into the whole shamanic perspective of soul fragmentation.
Cool.
You lose parts of yourself when you go through something traumatic.
Yeah.
That's the spiritual side of it, and then there's the science side of it. So I'm collecting those particles of light that you may have expelled when you're under stress. And this could be from a trauma, but it could also just be stress from day to day, not getting enough sleep, feeling burnt out.
Okay.
So I'm collecting them all, bringing them back to be usable energy into the body again.
Okay. And then, so you wanted to do what?
And then I call them upward. It's just part of our practice. I think it's supposed to help connect the front and the back chakra together.
Right.
And just to bring more balance and to open up a channel. Okay, so going through. So something at the knee. I'm going to check both sides. And I'm getting a circle on this side and a line on this side. Okay, so I'm going to just keep going. Big circles everywhere else. So the knee, the left side of the knee relates to attachment. This could be feeling attached to a person, place, or thing, and it could be something that's hindering you in some type of way.
Interesting.
According to the anatomy map. Is that something that resonates with you right now?
Well, I feel like it would, But I'm trying to think, attachments. Oh, okay, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Like, where I feel, I don't know if this makes sense, but I feel like we're souls, or some people will attach to me, if that makes sense, and I'm trying to break free from these attachments. Yeah. Would that make sense?
It would, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you do energy work as well, and you're always working with other people, and you draw in people because you have so much love to give outward, and a lot of people probably are drawn to that.
So that's really cool. So attachment is held in the left knee, and that's where you felt there was like an energy like was kind of off there. Well, doesn't that make sense? Okay, heal it. Do your magic. Woohoo! I feel like a little child.
I love it, I love it. Okay, so...
Okay, so... Oh, okay.
Do you feel that?
I already feel it in my left knee. Did you do that?
I have not placed a hand or the tuning fork on you.
But did
I've
you connect
just activated it in your field, yes.
Okay, interesting. Okay, go.
Okay. So just do some breathing. Be present with anything that's coming up. So it's important to mention as well, right now I'm using a weighted tuning fork. This one doesn't produce much of an audible tone. It's still very effective, but I can sense the vibration a lot, and you may as well. But a lot of my other forks produce an audible tone where if there is something that's out of harmony, you can hear it. You'll know. You hear it screech, you know that it's not making a harmonious tone. This one, it's more feeling, is how you know.
Cool.
And I trust my breathing as I move through. When I notice I'm encountering in an area that's holding something, I hold my breath, and I'll notice my client doing it as well. So I do lots of exhales. I encourage audible inhales and sighs, taking up space. Breathing as loud as you need to, making noise. Some people shake until it feels a sense of calm. You'll notice your body just start to naturally breathe slower and deeper. So now we're just doing I call this mixing paint. That's when we take the energy from the field and the body and we allow it to integrate together. We drop in any of those biophotons that may have been expelled. And start to column above, allowing a nice channel for open flow. So mainly what I do is I'm bringing back to the body a lot, but when it has to do with attachment or another entity or usually another person, I will do pulling away. So anything that is not yours that you're holding on to, using intention to remove it. And that's so interesting. As soon as I did that, I noticed that my breath, there was a heaviness in my chest, and it's not there anymore. I don't know how you feel. I'd like to know.
Well, I feel very meditative right now. It's like a very high frequency of meditation that happens so quickly. Because I just took a couple of breaths, and I feel like my frequency... Well, I feel like we're working with energy and frequency, so I feel like it's just very vibrant right now, the energies I feel. And I actually feel it very holistically.
Yeah.
Even though you're working on like the knee,
yes,
I do feel it's not just in the knee.
Yes, and that's what I tell a lot of my clients as well. If they're like, hey, I have this pain right here, why are you working over there? And I'm like, it's holographic. So anywhere I work, even if they're like, wait, but I thought my throat chakra was out of balance. Why are you down there?
It's all connected.
It's all connected. Yes. That's the thing. And like often the lower ones make the higher ones off balance. So correcting one just corrects the others as well at the same time.
That's That's really cool. I already feel much lighter.
Yeah, so I'm going to just ground you real quick. I'm going to bring your earth star down.
It's a good, yeah. I'm not the most grounded. So. Cool.
Yeah, would you like me to place it on your heart?
Yeah, sure, of course.
That's always, I feel like, people's favorite. Just to fully feel it and receive it.
Okay. Wow.
It feels nice, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I do this to myself often if I'm stressed, sad, anything, and I'm just like, okay, I need to come back to center here.
So I'm clairvoyant, and as soon as you put the tuning fork, that's what it's called, on me, I saw stars, like stars in the sky, and like I know the sun has a vibration. I know it sounds very similar to the sound of Om, and there's a vibration to Om.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has a similar vibrations to like celestial entities.
I love that.
Like stars or something.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think it's a similar vibration to stars.
That's so cool. I love that came up for you.
Yeah. Well, that was really cool. I really like that. Thank you.
I'm glad that you did.
That was super, super, super cool, and I can't wait to do like a full session with you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Carissa, for talking about Biofield Tuning. I feel like this was so cool, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm very grateful. I appreciate it.
Cool. So where can people find you? Or like, do you have anything coming up? Or how do people book sessions with you? Because you also do distance, right? So
I do, exactly.
All over the world.
Yes.
Okay. Talk.
So, Instagram and Facebook, In Tune Biofield Tuning is where you can find me, and I post all of my upcoming events, and you can book appointments through there as well.
Cool. Well, I'll link it below too, so then people
Yes, perfect.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Bye.